Everyone, and welcome to ILACE 2016. I'm really happy to see so many familiar faces from last year's ILACE, and for those of you who are new, we also welcome you. This year, I think, is even more exciting because this year we have partnered, AUC has partnered with the British Council. So this conference is being brought to you by both AUC and British Council. And this has been an extremely exciting and productive partnership that we hope will continue for years to come. I'd like to introduce my conference co-chair, Jancis McGrady from British Council. I would also like to thank the other members of the organizing committee. Do you mind standing up? Hanan Faris, Wael Almer, Tamer Ismail, and unfortunately, Atta Gabriel could not be with us today. You may remember that he was last year's chair, but he sends his regrets. And I also want to say it's not just the organizing committee who has put together this event. We owe a lot of gratitude to both British Council, to AUC's School of Continuing Education. I would like to thank, in particular, Hala Durham, who controls so many aspects of the conference that you will never know anything about. It just magically happens. And I know the same exact thing is happening with the British Council as well. So thank you to both of these entities for supporting us. I'd also like to just mention that we are really honored to have two extremely eminent plenary speakers at this conference, Dr. Eleanor Hargreaves and Dr. and Dr. Jamie Dunley. So after our opening ceremony, we will have our plenary talk, our first one from Dr. Hargreaves. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Dina Borai, Dean of SCE, past president of TESOL. I think most of you know her, and we're honored to have her here to say a few words. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Elizabeth, it is my honor. And I want to tell you, it is a dream come true. Last year, we weren't sure whether we would be able to have a language assessment conference every year. But thanks to the British Council, and I want to in particular thank Roy Kishore. Where is Kishore Roy? I want to thank him for making this dream come true. With our partnership with the British Council, inshallah, every year we will have a language assessment conference. And this is the key for making language assessment a field, and it is an area within TESOL, within TEFL, in its own right. And as we know all, as Egyptians, language assessment is key to our challenges in our work, and we need to always take the opportunities to meet together and try and solve the challenges, or at least share the solutions or share ideas that can help us get us through. I'm delighted to see you all. I hope I get to know a lot of you, and I hope you enjoy the conference, and looking forward to seeing you year after year and making more friends. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Dina. I would now like to introduce David Townhill, who is the brand new Director of English at the British Council. in one of his first jobs in Egypt. He was going to say some words on behalf of British Council.
Good morning, everybody. I am literally the brand new Director of English at the British Council. I've been in Egypt so far for 5 days, so I've really kind of been thrown in at the deep end here. But it's a real honor to be here, and I think before I was here, I was in Saudi Arabia as the Deputy Director. And I think one of the important success factors for the British Council is the people that we partner with and work with around the world. So I'm really pleased that we're working with an institution like the American University in Cairo. Our collaboration with this university goes back quite a long way through our schools network, but also major collaboration in exams. So it's a really great partner, and it's fantastic to be here working with them on this event. As a world authority in English, I think it's fantastic to see the British Council working with an assessment group and an active assessment community here in Egypt. And this conference really gives us the opportunity to support that assessment group and really help it develop and move forward. I think if we're going to look at assessment, just to give some figures of that, every year in around 90 countries around the world, about 2 million people will take a professional exam supported by the British Council. Each one of these exams gives that person, each one of these qualifications helps that individual achieve something new, whether it's opening access to an educational institute somewhere else in the world, develop their career, or to network and meet new people and exchange ideas. I just want to read a sentence from the British Council website related to this. So the British Council has a long and proud history in the area of English language test development and delivery around the world. We are a leading contributor to the world of assessment, which is a vital element of our cultural relations mission. And it's that last point I want to pick up on, which is our cultural relations mission. And sometimes it's very easy to lose where assessment fits into that. But the fact that we're giving the opportunity to around 2 million people every year to access new educational institutes, new careers and opportunities, that's really a key part of our cultural relations program. So events like this are not to be underestimated in the overall objectives of what the British Council is and what we represent. The British Council's focus on research in the field of English language assessment really reflects that we see assessment as an important key part of the effective teaching and learning of English, as well as the cultural relation goals of the British Council. So it's great to see over these next 2 days, there's going to be so many of my colleagues from the British Council who are going to be presenting. Some of these people work for the British Council here in Egypt. Some of them come from our networks around the world. And as already mentioned, we've got 2 fantastic speakers at the plenary, starting today with Eleanor Hargreaves from UCL, who's a reader in education. And then tomorrow we have Dr. Jamie Dunley, who's part of the British Council Assessment Research Group. So I think you're going to have a very interesting and fruitful couple of days. I really encourage you to take the opportunity to interact with each other, take part in the presentations and get as much out of this as you can. And thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Before we get on to the interesting part, which is Dr. Hargreaves' presentation, I have a couple of housekeeping issues. To say, sadly, we have had some last-minute changes to the program. There have been a couple of cancellations and a couple of room changes. So in your program book, this timetable is now out of date. You should have picked up a handout. They're available at the registration desk, which gives you the up-to-date program. Okay. You will find that each slot is 1 hour. This is intended to give us 45 minutes for the presentation and then 15 minutes to move on to the next session. Please, the room capacity is varied. So this room, obviously, we can have as many people in as we'd like, but Marriott and Armenian rooms are much smaller. You may find that you're not able to get into a session if it's already full. Please try and minimize movement between the rooms once the sessions have started to minimize disruption. Okay. We have today a special session from the conference committee members who are the 2017 conference co-chairs, which is Wael Amer and Tamir Ismail. They will be running a session tonight at 4:30, which is called Extending the Discussion, a bridge to ILACE 2017. And it came out of a discussion that we had about the fact that at conferences, you meet so many people, you hear different ideas, and it's very, very motivating. But it's also quite easy to then leave the conference, forget what you were talking about until the next ILACE conference comes around. So what we hope to do in this session is to get people discussing, talking about ideas that they've heard in this conference, and looking at possibilities of what you might like to do for the next conference. Maybe there are areas you want to find out more about, some action research that you would like to do. And it's a chance, therefore, to get to meet the co-chairs, to share your ideas with them, and to look forward to having more of the people who are participants looking at also being presenters in future. So you'd be very welcome at 4:30 in the Marriott room. We are also very keen, as Elizabeth said, this is our first year of partnering. We hope it's going to be a very successful conference. We would like your feedback. And there is another handout. I'm sorry, you've got lots of handouts, but a feedback form asking for your opinions. What did you like? Is there anything you didn't like? And is there anything you think we could do differently that would be better? There's a box at the back of this hall. If you would fill in your form and drop it off at the box at some point during the conference, we have a prize draw to encourage you to give us your feedback. Yeah, there's a space on the form for you to put your name. Please do put your name on. At the closing ceremony tomorrow, we'll have a draw. We'll be pulling names out of the box. We have 3 fantastic prizes. A first prize, which has been very kindly donated by NIL, the Norwich Institute for Language Education. And it is a fantastic online course in testing, evaluation, and assessment. So thank you very, very much. I know we have Alan from Norwich Institute of Language Education. If you would like to find out more about their online courses, he's waving there. We also have a second prize of a British Council online course in communicative assessment. And we have a third prize of a fantastic publication on assessment myths, which was kindly donated by Dr. Atta Jibril of the American University in Cairo. So we have 3 great prizes. All you need to do is tell us what you think. So we look forward to hearing from you. You should have got a Wi-Fi password. If you didn't get the little piece of paper with that on, please check at the SCE booth outside. They have copies of the password. We have a small cafe, which I know most of you have seen on site. There is also, if you're not familiar with AUC, when you go out of the main door, you are on Mohammed Mahmoud Street, which has a lot of restaurants and cafes for lunchtime. If you have any questions, problems, would like to know any information, please feel free to speak to myself, to Elizabeth, and to the other organising committee members. We're all very happy to help. I'm now going to hand over to the first of our plenary speakers, Dr. Eleanor Hargreaves. As my colleague David said, she is Reader in Education at the University College London, the Institute of Education there. And she is someone who has a great interest in learning, how we learn, how we can make the learning process more effective. And today her plenary talk is about maximizing the learning potential of assessments. So not just how do we test, but what are we going to do with it once we do this? And I think the particularly interesting thing about Dr. Hargreaves is that one of her geographical areas of research has been Egypt. So she is very, very knowledgeable about Egyptian education systems, Egyptian school systems, and the assessments within them. So I think that we're going to have a very, very interesting plenary this morning, finding out not just theory, but how it might apply in Egypt. So we'll hand over Dr. Hargreaves.